So this is Gamer Dom and welcome back to my garage. There's Santa going across the top of the screen. A bit late, he's obviously been out for a few jars with the boys after a job well done. So this was my latest purchase over the Christmas period. I had spent far too much money with our friends at Wargaming, but I really wanted this tank. I sort of ummed, shall I get it, shall I not, is it worth it, is it not? In the end I thought, screw it, I'm going to buy it. And that's because it was on for a pretty good deal. So if you go into the Wargaming shop, it is 13% off in the shop, £17.51 in the UK, and that's 23.79 euros, which is not bad for a tier 8 premium medium French tank. If you buy it on the tech tree, what's on the tech tree? Can't see. Okay, so it's 6,120 gold. You buy it on the tech tree. So this is the M4A1 can't pronounce it, let's call it the Revolver. The M4A1 Revolver. And it's a nice looking tank. It is, as you no doubt recognised and know from any other videos you've looked at, this is based on the standard M4 Sherman tier 5. In fact, if we go and have a look at that tank, here we go, one of my favourites. The hull is pretty much identical. Even the bogies and the tracks are very similar. Look at that. So the hull is exactly the same. The only difference is this big ass gun on the top, and obviously a larger turret to accommodate that huge gun. So I won't go into the history of it, because as always there's enough people that talk about that in the videos, and if you're really interested you can go and look it up. Only thing to say about this, it was effectively an upgunned, effectively it's an upgunned Sherman. It is what's called a super Sherman in some parlances, used extensively actually by the Israelis up until comparatively recently. It was a very effective tank, and for some reason, well, I suppose because there isn't an Israeli line, and probably because it was originally conceived by the French, it's become part of the French line in World of Tanks as a tier 8 premium. So let's go a little bit more detail about this vehicle. 1400 hit points, which is okay, pretty average for a premium. Its sister tank, the CDC, has exactly the same, 1400 hit points. So it's not too shabby. Weight is 35. Well, the way I've got it set up, 35 tons, which is medium, not particularly heavy. However, its engine power is a little bit lacking. It's only 460 horsepower, which is a little bit on the lower side, which means its top speed is only 40. Its traverse speed, however, is 40 degrees per second. Now, when I looked at some of the videos about that people have posted about this tank, it was a fairly polarizing kind of view. A lot of people were saying it's sluggish and slow, and that lets the tank down, and blah 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 blah. Other people said, yeah, it's not such a big issue. And I have to say, I mean, I have only played 2 games. I bought this tank this morning, I played 2 games, and I haven't found the speed that much of an issue. You are not going to race around like a CDC in it, and I guess that's the problem. If you compare it tank for tank with the other French premium, you know, there's no way it compares with this. This has got 3 times the engine size, 1200 engine, top speed of 53. Although interesting, its traverse speed is exactly the same. So, you know, it's not a whippet, but at the end of the day you're buying it because of this big gun, and it has enough speed to move. It's not like a British tank that's just sort of crawling along. It gets around reasonably well. That's my view. In terms of armour, well, you know, what are you going to expect? Again, it's based on a tier 5 tank. It's a Sherman chassis, so the armour is pretty terrible. The hull armour is 50mm, and while it's, you know, has a bit of angling there, bear in mind this is a tier 8 tank and you're going to go up against tier 9s and 10s from time to time. You know, 8s, 9s, 10s, even 7s, 6s are going to go straight through that front without any particular worries. So the only good thing about that hull armour is that your armour is just about okay for most people's HE shells, so they shouldn't be able to auto-pen you. Shouldn't. But some of the bigger guns will do, so you've got to watch out for that. Hull and rear, well, you know, if the front's no good, the backs and sides not going to be much better, and they're much flatter, and they are 38, so it's pretty crap. Turret armour, slightly better, 63, but there's not an awful lot of angling there, so 63 all the way around for its turret. The gun mantle is pretty big, and I think from time to time it should bounce a few shots because it's quite well rounded. There's a bit of depth to it, so that could act as spaced armour there maybe. However, you'll see in one of the games I did record, I recorded both matches I played on it so far, because I think they both showed good how the tank plays. But in one of those I get penned straight through there, in fact pretty much where that machine gun opening is, straight through the mantle. So, you know, you can't rely on any of this armour. But if you're used to driving a tank that has very little or no armour but has a good gun, then, you know, that won't be new to you. Secret, as always with these sort of tanks, is remain hidden for as long as you possibly can. Is avoid being, you know, you need to avoid being spotted. If you can avoid being spotted for long enough to bring this big gun to bear, aim it, take good shot, and then pull back. And this reverses pretty well, this tank, so, you know, there's no problem with taking your shot, reversing back out of the way, allowing the gun to reload, and then reacquiring your target and putting another big ass shot into it. That's how these guns work. If you want something that's going to be much quicker firing, then you're looking at the wrong tank, frankly. So, you know, zero armour, or negligible armour, shall we say, is the thing with this sort of tank. Its view range is very good, 390 as a base. I've been using binos on this, which brings my view range up to 487, which is obviously beyond the 440 maximum view range, but as I've said before in other videos, the fact you go beyond that means it increases the chance of spotting within the view range itself. So a tank that could only see 440, spotting at 440 will have a tiny chance of seeing, whereas this tank with a 487 spotting range, spotting at the maximum of 440 will have an increased chance of spotting. It's just the way the mechanics work. And the radio, not that anyone really cares, it's extremely good. It's a tier 10 radio. You see it on a lot of the French tanks, 750 range. It's funny, radios are really underappreciated resource on tanks. If you don't have a decent radio, then you can't see what your friends are spotting on the map. So, you know, most tanks have a pretty good one, particularly in the top, in the higher tiers. But you'd soon realise how bad it was not to have a decent radio if you didn't have a decent radio. So let's get on to the important thing for this vehicle, and that's this big gun. So it uses the 105mm cannon, effectively. It has a relatively slow rate of fire, 4.69 rounds per minute. But that again is, people who complain, and I've seen people moaning about slow rate of fire on this gun. At the end of the day, if you're going for a gun that has very big alpha damage and good penetration, you are not going to have a really fast firing gun. So if you're expecting anything else, then go look at something else, because this gun is relatively slow firing. You're only firing four and a half rounds a minute, but the rounds that you fire should be very effective. The base penetration with the standard ammunition, which incidentally is APCR, is 200 millimeters, which is pretty good. And 250 for the heat, which is a premium round, which is actually a little low, I think, considering this does fight tier 9s and 10s. 250 seems a little low, but they make up for it with this alpha, 390 average alpha. So, you know, this is a gun that you don't fire huge volume of shells, but when you do, the enemy has to take you seriously, because you're going to take great chunks out of its health pool. 390 is a sort of damage that pretty much every tank in the game will have to respect, even in the top tiers. And even its HE is not too bad. It's 53 millimeters with the standard, well, standard 53 millimeters with HE. So if you're firing HE against the hull of yourself, which only has 50 millimeters of armor, chances are you're going to go straight through it and do full damage on the inside, and that is 480 average damage. So that's an effective tactic for this tank, particularly if you're firing against lighter targets, ball sigs, that sort of thing. Yeah, it could be a very effective tactic. Dispersion is a bit disappointing, 0.36. It feels a bit worse even than that. You'll see in the videos that in some of the gameplay that some of the shots that appear to be fully aimed would just drop straight into the dirt, and I don't know why that is, but it could be this dispersion. Yeah, it's not fantastic. Aim time 2.8 is a little on the slow side. I take vertical stabilizers because you know, as I said before, the way to play this tank in my view is you fire, move back, fire, move back, fire, move back, and so each time you're moving you need to reacquire as quickly as you can, and with this aim time it's very slow already. With a decent crew and vertical stabilizers you should help reacquire quicker, and therefore be able to get your next shot off quicker, and then be able to pull back again into safety. So overall I think the gun's a really good one. Needs to be respected by pretty much all tiers. Talked about equipment already, but just to emphasize the point, rammer of course, vertical stabilizers, which is always useful, particularly even if you're not firing on the move, which I don't think this tank's very good at. The fact that it helps with your aim time when you are traversing your turret, which you probably will do, is very useful. And I take binos. Now I'm still debating whether that's the right thing to do on this vehicle. 390 base view range is okay. I'm wondering whether to swap that out and put a gun lane drive in. We'll see. See when I've played a few more games. At the moment that's my kit out for this tank. So let's go and have a look at a few games and see how it plays. So this was my very first game in the M4 Revolver. And I was kind of, well, it's a nice tier because it's a tier 8 game. It's Himmelsdorf, and that's not a great map for any kind of low armor TD type tank like this, but what the hell, you have to make the best of it. So I decided I'm going to head up the hill and see what we can do. I am top tier after all. What this IS3 is doing. Oh, it's finally turning me on. Okay, so I've done the old I don't know what you call it, but I was told once that Unicums often load premium shell initially just to make sure they get some good damage, so I've done that, and the second shell will be a normal APR. So the charioteer's come around there, he's not paying attention, we can pull it straight through his turret. But that's a nice start. Only 399, 95 damage. Well, only 395. That's slightly above average. Can we get a second shot? Yeah, and we got it. That's our first kill. So first kill in the revolver. Can we get a second one on that? No, he's pulled back. So, you know, and I have to say, coming up that hill, it wasn't that slow. It was, you know, not Speedy Gonzales, but it wasn't that shit slow, really. I'm trying not to get in the way of the SD81, and I'm trying to get a shot down on the... There's just too many of us here. This is just crazy. Just crazy. But there's a KB3 there, and he's a nice big fat target. And look at that, 400. Is that right? 466 damage. Wow. And he's on fire, and he's gone. Why is it so many? Top tier tanks don't carry fire extinguishers. For goodness sake, guys, just spend a little bit of extra credits. And there's a Type 64, but I'm not gonna get a shot. He's killed before. You know, and this game's over already. I mean, we've won it easily. Can we get a shot on the KV side armor? No, we put it. I was trying to hit his the armor above the tracks, and I missed him. Basically. Super Persian, he's dead too, so it's kind of all over really. But you know what? We led the way with our armor. We took a chance or two, and I don't mind this at all. So there we go. One to the side of the turret, 378. Get another shot before he dies. They're all ramming each other to try and get a kill. It's like bloody feeding frenzy. Let's go for the cupola. Yes, and I pick up the kill at the end. So that's 2 kills, nearly 1500 damage. We're 10-3 up, so this is just a matter of cleaning up really. And everyone's doing the usual, running like crazy to try and catch up, to try and take the kills before it all finishes up. So Tiger 2's headed that way, so I'm gonna have a piece of Tiger. Is my plan here. And you can see, look, I'm doing nearly 40. It's, you know, it's okay speed-wise. It's okay. Here we go. And I've got a shot in his rear, and what happened to that shot? I have no idea. Go figure. Is the ISU looking at me? Of course he's looking at me. I don't know how he got a shot through there, but he did. Wow. And he must have hit me. I don't know where he hit me, high up on the hull. And that, again, that's probably one of the challenges with this tank. It's quite a high tank. So it's, you know, that sort of thing is going to happen to you. Because they, yeah, oh there, I went straight through the gun mantle. But it is an ISU 152. So, yeah, I was lucky to get away without any kind of module damage. And here we come round. I've got a side shot onto the Tiger through the hatch. And again, what happened to that shot? Perfectly aimed, I thought. And this is a weird thing with this gun. I've had it in the 2 games I've had so far. I've had this a couple of times where you think the shots are perfectly aimed and it just doesn't go where you expect it to go. But yeah, that was the first game. First game, and look at that big hole where 152mm armor-piercing shell went straight through. And here's the after game stats. It was a 3rd class mastery, nothing spectacular, but you know, as I say, this was my first game, so we finished up, yeah, sort of mid-pack in terms of experience. Fired 9 shots, connected with 6 of them, and penetrated with 5 of them. Bit low, but we were taking some pot shots because it was all getting a bit crazy and frantic. Nearly 1500 damage. Took that one hit, which penetrated us right through the gun mantle. Nice credits though. Look at that, 51,241 on a premium account. Didn't fire any. Oh, we fired that first round of APCR, didn't we? Right at the beginning. 46,000 profits, so you know, That's not to be sneezed at, because that wasn't a particularly spectacular game, right? It was okay, but it was not spectacular. In terms of experience, we earned just over 1,000. We get an extra 100 because it's a premium, and it was a ×5, so that's 5,000 experience to this crew, which is nice. This crew is one that I'm planning, when I get there, to move into my French mediums. So at the moment they're sitting in the CDC and the M4A1 Revolver, and working their socks off that way. So anyway, that was the first game. So let's take a look at the second game, which was rather more exciting and probably better. So this was the second game I got, and it wasn't very nice of wargaming, I don't think. So second game up, and it's a tier 10 match. Luckily it's not a massively heavy one. There's 4 tier 10s and 2 tier 9s on each side. But pretty much everything else is a tier 8. So yeah, this is not a very friendly matchup, particularly when you haven't tried out a tank before. And this was genuinely my second game. I played it immediately after the one you've previously just seen. So I'm thinking, what do? I don't really want to. My natural instinct was to go where that has been marked now on the 9-0 line, but I'm low tier. I'm not going to waste my tank. I want to see what it can do in its role it's provided to do, which is as a backup tank, as a support tank. So I'm coming up here to see what that bulldog can see over the sort of 7, 8, 9 area. I think there might be a shot on that T49, but I took too long to get up there, so goes figure. But there is E100 there. I can get a shot on him. But that one went straight into his tracks. I didn't aim it terribly well, and I've been spotted, so get the heck out of dodge. So not a very auspicious start. I put one straight into the tracks when I had a perfectly good shot on his hull, and I missed again in my next shot. That was a Borsig shot, just went whistling past my tank, luckily missed as I pulled back. And again, one of the things I'd say, in a golden rule in most tanks actually, is if you assume you've been spotted. Now this shot, look at that. So I missed 2 really good shots, easy shots comparatively so. That one hit a bulldog when it's on full pelt at quite a considerable distance. Only 392 damage, but it's going to give him a bit of a bad day. So this is all looking a bit, we're 1-0 up, but we've got nothing apart from me and a bulldog and the AMX covering the 9-0 line, and now it's 9-all. So there's a T44 up there who's a very, very good player. So I'm thinking, this isn't good. This is not good. But we're fighting hard, and there's the T44. I wafted the shot again. Didn't aim it fully. I mean, admittedly, he was pulling back the moment he was. Oh, and here we go. Oh, been hit by the bulldog. Bounced one, been penetrated by another. So another one coming in. So he'd fired one which missed entirely, he bounced one and penetrated one. Interesting, he got a bounce. So we know he's off to my right, or in fact probably where straight ahead where the tank's pointing. There's a Borsig. Full strength Borsig. Don't know what he's doing. But we can have a piece of him, and he's being supported by the bulldog. So I'm going to go around here. I can hopefully get some good shots as they come down here. Also, oh, what he's playing, it's been tracked right, perfect place for me. Good night, Vienna. Thank you very much. There's the bulldog. He's trying to pull back. He's realised he's made a bloody stupid move. He's also tracked, and there's a cheap kill. So 2 kills. And you see, if that gun aims properly, it's not bad. Those were sort of mid-range shots, so. But even at long range, that hit on the bulldog when it was on full run. That was a pretty good shot if I say so myself, and it connected pretty well. So I'm eyeing my left very, very nervously here because it looks like we're losing the castle. And think, right, I'm going to have to go and support them over there. And I know I said that this tank isn't particularly slow, but you know it's noticeable here. I moved up there. I was barely doing 20 something, but it is what it is. You can't. No tank is absolutely perfect. You have to work with what you got. And suddenly this flank looks actually better now. We've got the Lurv, which is there, and I'm not going to get a shot at him. I learnt my mistake from earlier where I wafted one for no good reason. My E50 has been taken out, so I need to protect. And there goes the 1-2-1. So me and against a Lurv and the T49, who's there and wasn't expecting me to come whizzing around the corner. 300 health was all he had. Easy kill for me. So I'm trying to think, right, what can I do to ensure that I get shot on that Lurv without being spotted? So I'm going to come through this way, I'm assuming that he'll come round, and there he is, right. But he's being hit by RTDs back at base, which is great. I don't think I'm going to be needed, but nope, there you go, I'm not needed. So, it's 11-8. We haven't done anything particularly spectacular, but it's a tier 10 game, right? Remember? We've killed 2 tanks, done 1,000 damage. That T44 is still around, and he's a very, very good player. Okay, it's only a tier 8, and he's also... Oh, can we get a shot? No. He's also platooned by one of the arty. So, I think, right, my team are pointing me, go for the arty, go for the cap, mainly because they want to hit it with their with our arty. So it's a logical move, and there we go. Something's been spotted. I don't think it was me. Again, that's that wafted shot again. I mean, that was pretty much fully aimed. No idea where it went, but whatever. And our arty missed. So. What can you do? You can only help so much. So I'm going to have to do the hard work. I'm going to have to do the killing myself, clearly. It's just the only way it's going to happen. And there's the Borsig. So the Borsig has just killed our Jagdpanther 2. So it's me and 2 TDs. Oh, and there's the Russian arty. Can I get over? I need to track. Oh, just one shot will do. I forget how effective. And that M53 is really hidden, but I can barely see anything of him. I was hoping that our arty would hit him, but they didn't. And here we go. Can we get a shot? Fully aimed. Did we get him? Don't think so. No way he didn't. No way, because he was 400 health, and I realise he's going to shoot. So pull back, get back, and I take a big hit, and that's knocked out my gun, which I don't really want. But I still take him out. How many times do you see that? You get a gun just broken and you still manage to connect with quite a tricky shot. I mean, there wasn't an awful lot that artillery piece. So I know the Borsig and the T44 are watching me, and I'm trying to buy a bit of time, repair my gun, trying to buy a bit of time while this AMX comes around to give me some support, because heaven knows I need it. There's the Borsig. Nice shot, 380, but the arty finish him off. So we've basically got this game in the bag. We should do. Only that T44 left. He's a good player, but he's got some serious odds, and I've got some friends now at last. So what should we do? I'm just waiting until we've disappeared off the radar, so to speak. And there he is. He puts a shot on me again, but I managed to hit. That was a pretty good snapshot, if I say so myself. 432 as well. Don't need to worry too much about, well, there's no RT anymore. But he did take out my loading mechanism, which is a pain. I've lost the Borsig. Was that a friendly kill? It was. I hadn't noticed that. That was a friendly kill. Good grief, what was he doing? Is he seriously trying to... He was seriously trying to let... Oh, I hadn't realised that at all. I should have reported him at the time. So anyway, there you go. Let's go and have a look at the stats after this game. So, you know, that was a tier 10 game. We ended up with first class mastery, which is pretty good for a second game ever in this tank. Cruiser, fighter, and fire for effect. Well, yeah, who cares about those? In terms of team score, we finished top on experience and top on damage as well, so that's all goodness and light. So that's all pleasing. I'm assuming, yeah, that T, did that T? Yeah, he did. He team killed. Wow, dirty bugger. Right. Anyway, so back to the M4 Revolver. We fired 14 shots, connected with 9 of them and penetrated all 9. So that's all good. So when we hit, we penetrated. Now, we were fortunate. We weren't facing too much really heavy stuff. But when we did, we were trying to get around flanks and take him out and be able to use the penetration of that gun to full effect. 2,600 damage. Yeah, we took 5 hits, 4 of which penetrated, 1 which didn't. Can't even remember when the one that didn't penetrate was, but yeah, whatever. 600 assistance damage. But look at these credits. 85,000 credits. Okay, so it was a first class game in a tier 10 match, but 85,000. Wow. Didn't fire any premium, so we made 82,000 credits. Wowza. I wish it had been the other way around and this had been my first game, because that would have been a hell of a score as well for my ×5. But even so, even without the ×5, we made, it was 1,800 experience, which is very, very satisfying indeed. So that's the M4A1 Revolver, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I think it's I looked at a lot of videos when I was looking whether to buy this or not. But who am I trying to kid? I was always going to buy it. So, but I did look at a number of videos to see whether what people thought about it and how they played it and so forth. And you know, a lot of people didn't like it. They liked the gun, but found the mobility lacking, and the armour, of course, lacking, and so forth. But I don't find the mobility that much of an issue. It's not a speedster. It's not like the CDC, but it moves around reasonably well. And most often that gun, when you let it fully aim, can be quite effective. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a really good tank. And you know, to make 80,000 credits, that's seriously good. So anyway, this has been Gamer Dom. I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you did, please click like and consider subscribing to the channel. That'd be really good and makes me feel very good about doing these things. So anyway, any comments, any thoughts, if anyone else has bought the M4A1 or is thinking about it, then let me know what you're thinking about it, because I'd love to know how you're feeling it goes, and you know, how you use it to best effect. Let's say these are literally my first 2 games, so we'll see how it goes, you know, when I get to 50 or 60. But anyway, this has been Gamer Dom, and thanks for watching, and catch up with you again sometime.